This book is called Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox. It's a pancake adventure by Matt Luckhurst. This is the story of a man and his ox. The man's name was Paul Bunyan. He was taller than the trees and larger than life, and he forever changed the American landscape. People remember him and his best friend, Babe the Blue Ox, as great lumberjacks, the greatest lumberjacks to ever work in the forests. What folks usually do not remember is how that came to be. Paul was a very big boy, born in a very small town on the banks of the St. Lawrence River. At school, Paul had to squish his way into the classroom. He was not a very good student. He was far more interested in studying his favorite things to eat. Mom's pancakes. Math, Paul said, is just not very tasty. The countryside grew every kind of vegetable and fruit, but Paul and Babe wanted pancakes. Paul's mom sat them down for a talk. You have to start eating the food that we grow. You are going to get sick if all you eat is pancakes. Look how little his mom is. She gave them each some broccoli, but when Paul and Babe tried it, they spat it right out. These green things are for rabbits. What big guys like us need are pancakes, said Paul. So Paul's mom cooked pancakes all day and night, and her son and Babe greedily gobbled up each and every delicious one. Being a growing boy and ox, they could eat a lot. I just cannot keep feeding you and Babe all these pancakes, Mom said, panting. I have fields to tend to. Paul and Babe tried to help Mom by working in the vegetable fields, but their big feet just squished and squashed everything in sight. Paul and Babe's appetites had become too big, and so had they. One day they decided it was time to follow their stomachs and find their pancake fortune out in the great big world. So Paul hugged his mom and promised to write, and he and Babe took off into the deep, dark forest. Soon, Paul's and Babe's heads were in the clouds and their stomachs were rumbling like hungry bears, so much so that they barely heard the man who was calling to them. We've got a big problem down on the Syrup River, he yelled. I need a couple guys with big appetites to come help out. Paul bent down and looked him straight in the eye. Do you have pancakes? The man laughed. We've got more pancakes than even you can eat. Or my name ain't Brimstone Bill, he said. We will see about that, Paul replied. When they got to the river, it was a mess. A truck had rolled over and dumped its load of flour into the river, whipping up a sizable amount of batter, which had caused a log jam. The hot summer sun soon had that batter sizzling up into more pancakes than Paul and Babe had ever seen. Their dream had come true. They put on their best eating hats and went to it. They ate and ate and ate pancakes until Paul's shirt buttons popped off. When every last pancake had been eaten, the logs swept down the river without a problem. Bill could not believe his eyes. Why don't you and Babe come work for me, logging the land? I'll pay you as many pancakes as you can eat. Paul and Babe enthusiastically agreed. Up and down the country, Paul and Babe tromped and stomped with Bill, from Wisconsin to California, up the Little Garlic River and down the Onion, through Tall Wolf Country and across the Beartooth Plateau. Paul and Babe helped log the land. Up in the land of lakes near Minnesota, it got so cold that all Paul's words froze before they could make a sound. They say you can still hear his voice in the forests there today as they thaw out. That's cold. Out west, Paul and Babe tried to level the ground by filling valleys with pancake batter. When the sun came up, the ground grew hot and started to cook. up popped a whole mountain range right in front of them. The mountains used to be bigger, but Paul and Babe were hungry and snacked on some of them. Because of their uneven appearance, folks called them the Rocky Mountains. Down along the Colorado River, a stray pancake got picked up by a strong wind, and Babe took after it. Paul tried to hold him back. He dug his heels into the ground. When Babe finally caught the pancake, he and Paul had dug up a huge swath of dirt that is now called the Grand Canyon. But one day, Babe's bright blue glow began to fade. He was feeling sick. He just lay there like a big blue ox berry. Paul was worried and not feeling so good himself. Bill called the doctor to come and examine them both. The doctor said, "You seem to have been eating too many pancakes." Paul and Babe said their goodbyes to Bill. When they got back home, Paul's mom was mighty glad to see them. And sure enough, there was plenty of healthy food for them both. Soon Babe turned bright blue again. "See, your mom is always right," Paul's mom said proudly. From that day forward, they stayed in town, growing Bunyan-sized veggies and helping the townspeople and always listening to what Mom said. And of course, eating a heap of fruit and vegetables. And that is how Paul Bunyan and his best friend Babe changed the great American landscape and became the greatest lumberjacks ever. And they never ate any fluffy, delicious pancakes ever again. Well, every now and then they might sneak one or two. Just don't tell Mom. The end.